So let me see if this is okay. Right, okay, so let's start. Yes, hello everyone again. This is me, Marcela Villán. Here you have my picture again. As I told you a few minutes ago, I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is where I was born and where I still live. There is a number there next to the picture, and of course, it's not my age. I'm sorry to tell you, right, that I'm not 35 years old, that much, okay, older than that. But that refers to the years that I've been a teacher in a classroom. I've been a teacher in the classroom for more than 30 years, 35 to be more precise. So, if we continue, well, I was just going to ask you where you are joining from, but I was able to see that a few minutes ago in the chat box. Different places all over the world. Nice to meet you too. Okay, wonderful. Oh, I think there are some friends here, and that's lovely. Okay, Arabia, Macedonia. Well, wonderful. Peru, also Argentina. I saw some people from Argentina there. I love that. Okay, Myanmar, Serbia, Pakistan. Well, love all this, right? Wow. We have the whole world here. Ukraine, Sri Lanka, Iran, Egypt, the Czech Republic. Oh, that's great. Amazing, right? So I know that we're all watching this and being here from different times, okay, at different times. So this makes this event even greater. Yes, amazing. Morocco, Angola, Jordan, Scotland. Okay, Belarus. Well, amazing. The world is in it. Great. I love this. I'm a global educator, so I do really love this. Now, have a look at these pictures, right? And just let me know how you're feeling at this moment, right? Are you delighted to be here, like picture number one? Are you bored or tired because it's Friday and maybe it's evening in your place, but still interested in what I am going to say? Or are you curious about what I am going to tell you? Let me know in the chat box. One, two, or three. Let's go. Well, let's see. Three, curious. Okay, one, delighted to be here. Good. Okay, I love that. Okay. Three, one. Very curious. Okay, and one, three and one, three and one. Well, wonderful. No one is number two. Oh, there's number two there. Okay, tired because it's Friday, but happy to be here. Okay, two and three, there's a mixture there. Okay, lovely. I love all this. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Two, because I had a rough day, of course. And apart from that, it's Friday, so maybe a tiring week as well, right? One, two, three. Okay, I love that. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me know, right? It's great. It's great to know how you're feeling at that very end, right? Here I am as happy as a hippo, as we say to our students in the classrooms, right? Now, our agenda today, how to create global citizens, right? Okay, happy to be here. Thank you. Our agenda today will deal with this. Number one, we are going to see what a global citizen is. Number two, why we need to create global citizens. Create, as if they were a cake, as if they were a dish, as if they were a poem, right? A novel, okay? Why do we need to create global citizens? Number three, how we can create these global citizens. Number four, what the benefits of creating global citizens is for all the world, right? And then we will have some time for questions and answers, of course, right? So that's great. Now, if we continue, first things first, I've got some messages. Okay, I'm delighted. Okay, to save the planet. Okay, wonderful. And to protect the life. Okay, wonderful. You will see that in a minute. So first things first, okay, what is a global citizen? And now I need some more help from you. So let's see. If we go to the chat box, right, I want you to tell me, what is a global citizen for you? Let's see. What is a global citizen for you? Chat box. Words that can be world communicator. Compassionate. I like that one. Good. A person who is in touch with the world, who contributes globally, who cares about the world and works to make it better, who can relate to people. Aha. Global citizenship. Okay. A free man like a bird. Okay. Someone who believes in world brotherhood, a world protector, world image, a person of the world rather than of a country, flexible, travels a lot and speaks many foreign languages. Let's see. Cultural awareness, understanding. Yeah. Knowledgeable of different cultures. Okay. One who can be a peacemaker. Good. I like that as well. Okay, a global citizen is someone who communicates with everybody. Okay, from different cultures. Good. Okay, someone who feels that he's a citizen of the world and he's ready to make the world better. I think it said. Okay, promoting. Okay, responsibility, unity, right? Who can make input in the world, education, to communicate with others, open-minded people, good. Speaking English, well, it's our lingua franca, the language that communicates the world. Okay, someone who is accessible from anywhere. Aha, not confined to the culture or area of a particular country. Like that one as well. Think globally, act locally. Good. Okay. Have good language and internet to communicate. Okay, that's important nowadays. Being multilingual and multicultural. Well, good. Culturally acceptable everywhere. Appreciate each other's differences. Well, lots of ideas and very similar to the ones that I am going to show you now. So, if we go to this, a global citizen here is someone who is informed, right? I'm sorry, but I'm moving this. Okay, chat box, to see what you're writing. Someone who is informed about the world, okay, about global issues. Someone who appreciates and respects cultures, okay, and cultural differences as well. Someone who makes responsibility for their impact in the environment. Someone who collaborates across cultures, right, and tries to find solutions to shared global initiatives, someone who makes ethical decisions based on fairness, empathy, and respect for others, and someone who advocates for peace. Some of the things you have already mentioned in the chat box. So, why is it that we need to create global citizens? Let's see. Because we are not just teachers of a language. I mean, here most of us are teachers of English, but we have to remember that we are not just teachers of a language. We are teachers of human beings. And these human beings have certain needs to consider. So we need to take that into consideration when we go to our lessons. Have a look at these pictures and I want you to tell me what problems are these pictures associated with. Chat box again. Pollution, good. Poverty, forest fires, climate change, globalization, social issues, good. Unrest, yeah, good. Any other? Yes, you're writing a lot here. That's great. Old age, illiteracy, education. That's it. Environmental issues, economic issues as well. Hungry. Yeah, that's it. Hunger. Discrimination, air pollution, natural disasters. Okay, great. Yes, I love all that. Yes, of course. Lots of problems here that our world is facing today. Famine. Yes, lots of problems that our world is dealing with these days. Lots of challenges that we as human beings are facing. And our students need to be aware of all of them. Here we have the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Do you know them? Say yes or no in the chat box. No, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes. There is a bit of everything. Yes, no, yes, yes. Okay. Well, most of you are saying yes, so I like that. Heard about them a little bit. Okay, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by the United Nations in the year 2015 with purpose right, to create peace, prosperity for the people and the planet, now and into the future. And they encompass the 17 uh, biggest problems that our world is facing, ranging from poverty to the creation of partnerships, right, to achieve goals. And it is believed that in global partnership, we can achieve this end by the year 2030. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had the Pact of the Future, right, at the United Nations, and this 2030 agenda has been extended a little bit more so that we can accomplish these goals, right, all together. For me, they have become a roadmap in my classes, a roadmap to move the focus beyond a language class, right? And it has become a drive, yes, for collaboration and collective action in my classes. And I am going to show you how I do that. So there is one of the goals, right? Number 4, which is quality education. And this does not refer to the fact that all your students should get a 10 by the end of a year. This does not refer to the fact that all your students have to get a 10 at the end of their exams. No, it's not like that. Quality education refers to the fact, and one of the targets that we have to achieve by the year 2030 or in this extended agenda, is target 4.7 that says that by the year 2030, we have to ensure that all learners acquire the knowledge and the skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and nonviolence, global citizenship, and appreciation of cultural diversity and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. So my idea is always the same. If our students need to achieve this, who is going to be in charge of taking all this to the lessons? The teachers. So that's why our role is crucial, right, in the classrooms nowadays. Our role as educators is really crucial. And that's why we need to create global citizens and why we need to take all these issues into our lessons, because our students need to be aware, right, of all this and have to learn about all this, right? Okay, more people coming in. Okay, so the answer to all this, the answer to how we can create global citizens is global citizenship education. Global citizenship education is UNESCO's answer, right, to all these global issues. UNESCO's response to these global challenges. And let me see, there are some messages. Let me see what in my country, English education is limited. Sharing knowledge, yes, of course, sharing knowledge is essential, right? But UNESCO's response to the global challenges, and although the term was coined in the year 2011, the values that the term represents, they have been central to UNESCO's mission since its founding in the year 1947. Global citizenship education is based on the idea that we are all connected, that we live in an interconnected world. And it's more about the mindset that the person needs towards all these issues, right? And the actual action that the person can take towards all these global issues, right? So global citizenship education works basically on 3 domains. Here we have the cognitive domain, the social-emotional domain, and the behavioral domain. The cognitive domain refers to the knowledge that our students need to get, that any person needs to get to be able to become a global citizen. The social-emotional domain refers to all the values and the attitudes that this person needs to get, any person needs to get to be able to become a global citizen and act towards these global goals. And the behavioral domain has to do with and is connected with the actions that the person has to take to be able to, let's say, work towards these global issues, to solve these global issues, right? I've got more questions here. Yeah, sharing culture. Okay, right. Protection of culture. That's wonderful, right? I like all your ideas. So, in a classroom, a teacher can incorporate content and material that build awareness and towards these global issues and that also promote intercultural understanding. And that is what you should do if you want to create global citizens. If we move backwards, okay, sorry, uh, backwards, not forward. Okay, there are lots of great readers and novels that deal with, let's say, basically these issues, right? For example, readers nowadays that deal with the question of animals in extinction, the problem of water in different parts of the world, the question of pollution. Well, take advantage of that and take them to the lessons, right? And while you are using the language classroom to learn how to read and write and speak, etc., the four basic skills, right? You're also incorporating these global issues in the lessons. Songs. There are lots of songs that you can take to the classroom that are connected with these global issues, right? Maybe you are just listening to songs and you don't pay attention to them. But for example, there are lots of songs that connect with these global problems nowadays and in the past as well. So I always insist on the fact that instead of taking the songs that they already know and that our students are accustomed to listening to, we can go to songs from, for example, my 80s or 90s, songs like, for example, Earth by Michael Jackson, right? It's a wonderful song to introduce Sustainable Development Goal 13 and the question of climate action and all the climate crisis that we are suffering from, right? If you choose a song like, for example, Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins, it's an excellent song to work on the question of poverty, right? And sustainable goal, development goal number 1, right? No poverty. Another song which is great is Get Up, Stand Up by Bob Marley, right? To be able to fight for your rights, okay? And so you will be working on sustainable development goal number 10, reduced inequalities, and sustainable development goal number 5, gender equality. Another song is Imagine by John Lennon, of course, right? And that is Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, right, in the world. So these are just to name a few, right? Okay, but there are lots of songs that Heal the World by Michael Jackson. Okay, do you know any other? Let me know in the chat box. Okay, there are lots. Okay, lots of songs that we can take to create, let's say, this awareness on global issues, right, from the classrooms, right? And of course, you will be practicing listening skills, right? You will be practicing speaking skills when you talk about them, right? We are the world, that's it. Running with the wolves, yes, okay, that's a good one as well. Lots of them. You also have films, for example, like the Lorax, okay, right, which is going to be great to work on Sustainable Development Goal 13, climate action, right, the question of taking care of the trees, right, that's essential nowadays, right. Maybe you also have films, right, like The Day After Tomorrow, which is a science fiction film, and maybe it creates a very dull vision of the future and of the world in the future. But that is another big point, to be able to work on two big issues, right? The idea of not creating an ecophobia about all this that they hear about the future and all this that they listen to, that the world is going to die tomorrow and we are going to, no. So maybe you can work on a sense of biophilia, right? Creating a sense of hope for the future. So you watch the film, but at the same time, you show the counterpart. Okay, so I mean, ecophobia, biophilia, two great terms that you can manage in your lessons as well, right? Then it says videos from YouTube. There are thousands. Documentaries, right? Of course, there are lots, and there are lots of NGOs that prepare short videos, right, to be able to communicate the problem that they are dealing with. And that's great. You can take them to the lessons as well. Biographies. You are teachers of English, you are teachers of a language, and you teach how to write biographies. Well, when you teach how to write a biography, don't teach about a person that they are not connected with, right? Teach, for example, about the biography of Malala, the biography of Greta Thunberg, great activist, young as they are, okay? And so that will create in them this sense of, I can also do it, right? I can also work for my world, right? Infographics, right? Infographics, you can find a lot in the United Nations website, right? To be able to deal with all these issues, right? Posters, of course, show the pictures and make them think about that, okay? What's happening in the pictures, right? Okay, experience. Malala works very well. Yes, all of them work very well. Wonderful. Posters then, right? And you make them look at the poster and think. Thinking skills are also very important. Talks to experts. Why not bring someone at a local level that knows a lot about, for example, climate action, that knows a lot about gender equality, that knows a lot about the question of energies, right? And clean energies for the world. That can help a lot in the classroom. Also, open your young learners' eyes to the world around. If you're working on vocabulary and you're teaching vocabulary on clothes, don't just concentrate on the clothes they are wearing. Concentrate as well on the clothes that people wear around the world. We all wear very different kinds of clothes, right? And it's very important to get to know about all of them, right? The world, we are getting united. The world is globalized, okay, and so we need to get to know about other cultures and other clothes, animals, people in other places, right? So when you deal with vocabulary, just open your classroom's doors, yes, and globalize the lesson in that way. Encourage inquiry-based learning, right? Well, inquiry-based learning, of course, but it's this educational approach that encourages students to explore a topic, right? Explore a question, right? And then, for example, facilitate exploration and promote collaboration and encourage reflection, right? You can also work on PBL, right? Instead of just concentrating on the inquiry part, okay, and the exploration, concentrate as well on producing a result, something at the end of all the process, right? Like, for example, a presentation to show a final product to take to, let's say, their classmates in school, right? Maybe a campaign that they can prepare for other kids at school, for the community as well. Creating virtual exchanges with students in other parts of the world. This is also very good, right? You can work on telecollaborative projects, right, with schools around the world. And in that sense, you will be creating this awareness of we are not the only ones working for these issues. There are people around the world working for them as well, right? This telecollaborative project can be accessed by different organizations like iEarn, for example, but also like the Global Teachers Club, which is a teachers club in which to which I belong, right? I'm a member of the board, right? And what we do is to create collaborative projects, right, among different countries, right, working on certain issues, working on central goals, right, and let's say collaborating to reach an end or to find a solution to the problem. Making students collaborate with and act on issues that have both a global and a local impact. A local impact. What about creating a campaign, a tree planting campaign at school, right? Or a plastic-free campaign at school, right? Or open it to the community, include the parents as well, right? What about some food campaign in which they have to, let's say, save food, right? To take to people in the street, living in the streets, for example, right? Lots of different ideas that you can take to your lessons to create, to make your students think about all these global issues. So Tell me in the chat if you have used any of these approaches I have just mentioned. Opening your students' eyes, inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, virtual exchanges, making students collaborate with a global and local impact. I have, someone says. Okay, good, Sahika. 1 to 5, that's wonderful. Okay, inquiry-based learning for Alicia, good. Project-based learning, okay. 2, okay. 2 to 5, okay. 1, okay. Project-based learning, that's wonderful. That's wonderful, good. I like all your answers. And if you haven't tried them yet, give them a try as from tomorrow, okay, right? Let's create global citizens together. Now, let's prioritize this in the classroom as well, because I told you that creating a global citizen is not only connected with the content that you take to the lessons and the materials that you choose for your lessons, but it's also connected with creating these attitudes that global citizens need to be able to face all the challenges that our world is facing, our world has. So let's prioritize in our classroom critical thinking, cultural awareness, and systems thinking, right? We will prioritize critical thinking, we will teach how to think critically. If we ask open-ended questions, if we promote discussions, right? If we challenge assumptions and guide deeper into their thoughts, right? For example, by asking, what makes you say that? What evidence have you got in connection with what you are saying, right? How can we really get to know that what you are saying is connected with this? What evidence can you find? Right, so it's not just a question of letting them talk, right? Just go deeper into their thoughts, right? That is what we need to be able to make them think critically, right? And to be able to make sure about what they are saying. Teach students to think about their thinking, right? Use thinking routines, the ones that were created by Project Zero, right? Okay, from Harvard University, right? Lots of different thinking routines that you can take to your lessons, like what do you see? What do you think about this picture? What do you wonder about this picture, right? Make your students think deeply, right? Model critical thinking as a teacher. Be skeptical, right? But try to be sure of what you show. So teach students to think about their thinking, and including thinking routines in a global lesson can be connected with this. Here I am showing you 2 thinking routines from Project Zero Harvard. These thinking routines are called global thinking routines, right? And are just prepared to make your students think about the world beyond them, beyond their classroom. The first one, for example, the one that you see here, right, is called circles of action. This is great, yeah, because any problem that you are dealing with, pollution or animals in extinction, or I don't know, the question of water that appears in so many books nowadays, textbooks, or the question of, let's say, global warming, which is also becoming more integrated into these textbooks nowadays, right? Any time that you deal with one of these issues, you start saying, well, how does all this affect me? How does this topic affect my community? When I say me, I refer also to my friends, right? And my surroundings, my inner circle, okay, right? My friends, my family. When I refer to the community, I refer to the school, the neighborhood, right? And how does all this affect the world, right? So let's start making our students think outside the classroom, right? Okay, not only concentrating on what happens in the classroom, right? Okay, me, my community, my world. Also asking, how can I contribute to this problem? How can my school contribute to this problem? How can the world contribute to this problem, right? And in that way, yes, you will be able to get ideas out of your students' head, right, that open a little bit, yes, from outside from what you get in the classroom, right? Open your classroom's doors, as I always say. Break down your classroom walls, okay? Not literally, of course, right? But just metaphorically. Break your classroom door wall and communicate, okay, with the world. Open your classroom to the world. The other routine, the three whys, okay, when you deal with one of these topics, right? Why might this problem, right? Why might this problem, and you have it there, right, matter to me? Why might this problem matter to my community? Why might this problem matter to the world? Right? Let's see what your students have to say to this. Sometimes we underestimate our students and we say, "Oh, they won't be able to deal with this issue." No, take these issues at any age to your classroom because your students will really surprise you with their answers. Your students have wonderful ideas in their heads. So let's try to make them speak about it. Perfect content. Thank you. Okay, what can I do to solve this problem, for example? That's right. Yes, analyzing all these issues as well. To raise cultural awareness, what we can do is to create an inclusive and safe environment in which your students feel safe to speak and to speak out and say what they really think about these issues, right? We can celebrate diversity. We can foster open discussions, right? We can also foster respect. We must also foster respect and curiosity for other languages, for other cultures, right? We can use diverse literature for that and diverse media, right? From different textbooks, from different websites, right? From around the world. Always try to check that it's a reliable website, of course, right? If allowed, address stereotypes of bias in your lessons. I know that there are still some schools that do not agree with this idea, and well, you try to play safe, but not mentioning them, right? But anyway, it would be great if all schools now opened to this issue, right? Invite guest speakers or experts from different cultural backgrounds. Last week, for example, we had a project at school with my sixth-year students, right? They are finishing a high school here in Argentina, secondary school in Argentina, and we are dealing with the question of culture and religion, right? And I invited people from different parts of the world. We had a Muslim person in my class, and we had a Jewish person in my class, and we also had a person, a Buddhist, right? Okay, and it was really great to see how they feel, what they think, and how they relate to the world, right? Because we live differently, but we all live in the same world, and we all deal with the same issues. We all deal with the same problems, right? We all face the same challenges, so we have to get together, right? Partner with classrooms from different parts of the world, as I told you before, through virtual programs, exchange programs, or collaborative projects. Now there is a great project going around. Yeah, it started last week, which is the Climate Action Project to deal with Sustainable Development Goal number 13, right? And you can connect your lesson, your classroom to classrooms around the world, right? So that's wonderful, right? Now, teach students to think systemically. And I can tell you that this is, I think, the key issue of the presentation, right? Think systemically. Your students are part of systems, right? We are all parts of systems, right? Our school is a system. Our house is a system. Our family is a system. Uh, the community is another system. We are all a part of different systems, right? And we have to see how all these systems interact because it's very important. The interaction of these systems is crucial, right? Knowing about the interaction of these systems is crucial if we want to find solutions to the problems that the world has nowadays, right? Learning to know about systems and being part of systems and learning how these systems interact, what connections they have, okay, is crucial then, right? How can you take all this to the lessons, to your classrooms? When you're dealing with a problem, for example, pollution, right? You start saying, well, how does this problem affect nature? How does this problem affect the economy of a country? How does this problem affect the society of a country? Taking into consideration the three pillars of sustainability: the economy, the environment, and the society. So if we want to make a world more sustainable, right, what we need to do is to work on these three pillars: the economy, the environment, and the society. And what we have to do is to see how these three pillars interact. So whenever you deal with a problem, it doesn't matter which one, but I mean, maybe pollution, maybe global warming, maybe the lack of water, maybe gender equality, any problem. Well, how does this problem affect the environment? How does this problem affect the economy of my country, and of the world? How does this problem affect the society of a place and of the world, right? And so by dealing systemically with these issues, right, you will be able to make your students think of better solutions, yeah, for these problems, right? Well, so ask systemic questions. How does this relate to? How does this affect this, right? Model systems thinking as a teacher. When you are dealing with a problem, also show system thinking to your students, right? That is to say, okay, but how does this affect the world? And how does this affect our classroom? And how does this problem affect the community? And how does this problem affect you in particular? Right? So system thinking, right? When your students start realizing about the connections that the problems have, right? They, for sure, they are going to think about better solutions for the world problems, right? And what are the benefits of creating these citizens, global citizens? Well, lots. First of all, you will be working on the 4 Cs, that is to say the 21st century skills that are so much talked about these days, right? Critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, right? So the 4 Cs essential, and they will be placed in your classrooms. Now, can you think of other benefits? Let's see what you have to tell me in the chat box, right? Thank you. Thank you to all the ones that say that it's a useful session. System thinking, yes, of course. Empathy, good. System thinking, different systems, yeah, good. Okay, education, right, of course, good. More benefits? Open-minding, okay, good. Life, good. Emotional intelligence, of course, you will be working on values. Broader views, kindness, tolerance to cultures, good. Good. Any other idea? Let's see. Okay, open-minded people, again. Positive thinker, right. Okay, 4 Cs are important to grow as a good citizen, of course, very important. Thinking outside the box, lovely. Okay, globalization, global thinking, positive attitude. That's great. Have a look at the ones I have here, right? You will be working on values, empathy, respect, responsibility, right? You will be having a look at the value of multiple perspectives, not only your local perspective, right? But you will be showing the value of multiple perspectives, right? Okay, seeing what the real world is like. Commitment to promoting equity, yes, a fairer society, right? Positive belief, someone mentioned that there, right? Creating a sense of hope. They are going to feel that they are part of the solutions, that they can really help to build a better world. Active engagement, active learning, active, right? Voice and choice. You will be letting them choose what they really want to work on, what they really want to solve. And you will see the results, and all this is really amazing, right? Now, this is just simply how I create global citizens in my lessons. But I also have a reminder for you. Now, there is a call to action here. Lead by example. Engage in continuous learning. Continuous professional development is essential, right? Nowadays. Yes, because you must keep your classroom updated with all these issues, right? So lead by example, right? It's not just you want them to think and you want them to act and you want them to know. You also have to get to know and you have to act and you have to, let's say, think about these issues, right? Educate yourself on global issues. Educate yourself on these topics. There's so much to learn, right? There is so much to learn about what is happening around the world. Yeah. So educate yourself on global issues. Collaborate with educators around the world. Yeah. Don't just stay where you are, right? Open your classroom walls, right? Open yourself to the world. Connect with teachers around the world. Yeah. There are a lot of organizations, of NGOs, of groups of teachers around the world that will be able to, let's say, invite you to join in. My Global Teachers Club can do that as well, right? Encourage your students to see themselves as part of the solutions, as part of a world, not just a citizen in the classroom. No, they are part of a world and they have to get to know how to deal with all these issues and with this world they have. Use the global goals as a framework for this purpose, right? The global goals, Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, they are the perfect framework to show all these problems, all these global issues, and to act on these global issues. So they are the perfect framework to take to your lessons. Don't forget to teach the global goals, okay? Well, there you have two websites that you can visit if you want more information about all these topics, right? Okay, here you have a wonderful publication by the British Council, right? It released in the year 2017, but it's very updated with lots of, let's say, things that you can take to your lessons, lots of projects that you can take to your lessons, lots of articles to read about different, let's say, ideas on how to deal with the global goals, with the sustainable development goals in your lessons, right? So you can look for it and read it. And last but not least, okay, I want to end up by showing you this, okay, and by making you listen to this, right? I asked myself, how can I finish my presentation? And I said, well, I want to finish it in a positive attitude, right? And so I said, let's create a song. I went to suno.com. I imagine that you know suno.com, this free website that creates songs and music for you, right? And I wrote, right? Artificial intelligence, of course, right? I wrote, can you please create a song about the importance of taking the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to my lessons, right? And listen to this. Let me see if the sound is shared. Okay, yes, it is. So let's see, pin. Let's go. Can you listen to it? Say yes or no in the chat box. So enjoy it.
Like the way, show the path to brighter days. Dreams so big can reach the sky. With knowledge we will fly. Lessons learned in every land. Join together hand in hand. Quality for every age. Open up the golden cage. Educate to elevate. For the goals we'll advocate. Together we collaborate. Teach the world it's not too late. Educate to elevate. For the goals we'll advocate. Together we collaborate. Teach the world it's not too late. Sustain the dreams we chase. In every heart there's a place. Let's unite for what is right. Education shining bright. From the cities to the fields, strength we find knowledge shields. Teaching hearts and strong minds. A better world we can find. Educate to elevate. For the goals we'll advocate. Together we collaborate. Teach the world it's not too late. Educate to elevate. For the goals we'll advocate. Together we collaborate. Teach the world it's not too late. Educate to elevate. For the goals we'll advocate. Together we collaborate. Teach the world it's not too late.
So, as the song says, right? Teach the world, it's not too late, right? We can get our students to get to know about all these issues and to work together for all these issues and have a better world for all, right? Thank you for listening. You can find me on Instagram at 21st Century Tools, right? That's my Instagram account. And I give lots of ideas on this. And you can find me on LinkedIn at Marcela Villán. That's my name, right? So see you there, right? Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all these great comments. Thank you very much. Now, if there are any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Marcela. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, so you can stop sharing your slides so people can see both of
Okay.
it. And we'll share the links that you've shared
Okay.
through the chat. Thank you so much. That was so interesting. Thank you for your energy and your inspiration at the end of what's been a long day for people that have followed all the webinars. So that's great. And I love the emphasis that you put on really on critical thinking and all the examples of questions that you shared, questions that really invite students to think. It's not
Yes,
just,
absolutely. I think it's absolutely essential, Joanna. Those are the great things that we need to take to our lessons, right? That's why it's not a question. I asked, my call to action was to educate yourself on these issues, of course, because it's important if you're going to take these issues to your lessons to get to know about them, right? You are not going to ask your students to talk about, let's say, global warming if you don't know what global warming is all about. So it's good to educate yourself on these issues. But it's more important to work on these values and these attitudes, right, that we need to create on our students to make them become global citizens, right? The question of critical thinking, system thinking, as I mentioned as well.
That was really interesting. Okay, so let's take some questions because there's lots of questions coming in, a lot of interest.
Oh, wonderful.
But Lana says, so you mentioned virtual exchange between students in different places in the world, so you would connect online, right? Could you give us an example of a project that you did that would work like that?
Okay, the one that I mentioned that is really now on, it's one called Climate Action Project by Take Action Global. You can find it online. Climate Action Project, and it just appears. It started last Monday, and it's great because there are lots of classrooms around the world participating. So it's set, for example, in 6 weeks, right? And what you do is you go through different content each week, teaching about the causes of global warming, the consequences of global warming, the actions that you need to take towards global warming, and finally, in the last weeks, you exchange your views with schools from all over the world. So there is a platform to which we all belong. And what you do is to connect with teachers from other parts of the world, and you arrange a Zoom meeting, for example. And in that Zoom meeting, what you do is to exchange your ideas. Well, I've done that with several other, let's say, topics, not only, remember that you said at the beginning, I am an environmental educator, so global warming and climate action is one of my most important issues in the classroom, but I also teach global perspectives, and through that subject, I connect my classes with classrooms around the world on different issues, right? For example, gender equality, what's happening with the topic of gender equality in other parts of the world. Now, how can you do that? Well, there are lots of groups. If you go to Facebook, you will find lots of teachers groups, right? And from different parts of the world. Yeah, I belong to a club which is called the Global Teachers Club. Okay, this Global Teachers Club, which is on Facebook as well. Yeah, you become part of the club, and we are teachers from all over the world there, right, participating. And if you need to create a project, you just ask there, who wants to collaborate with me on a project with, right? Then you just make the project formal, right? Okay, and you write the different steps the projects will have, how it will be evaluated, right? When you're planning to collaborate and how you're planning to collaborate. There are some places in which, for example, Zoom is not an option because there is no connectivity or not enough connectivity to support a Zoom meeting. And so what you can do, for example, is to work through a Padlet, right? Okay, to other options that you may have, other applications that you have to work online. And in that way, you're also collaborating, right? Maybe you're not having a look at the person online, right? Or seeing the person online, but you're also collaborating towards all these problems.
Thank you. That's a really good tip. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like at the same time linking up. It could be asynchronous, writing messages to each other, creating something together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Maybe they can also, your students can also record themselves on videos, right, through their cell phones, and maybe upload the videos to the Padlet, right? And so in that way, the other students will get to know them. Because one point, for example, is also time zones. Right. Okay. If you want to connect with classrooms in other parts of the world, right? I had a great project 2 years ago with school in Japan, but of course, our timetable, right, was so different, right? Okay, so different. Our time zones were so different, and the timetable at school was so different that we decided to work on a Padlet, and the result was amazing. Right, the result was amazing as well. It's not only right through Zoom meetings, right? I think that Zoom meetings is the best way because your students want to see who's on the other side and who they are, right? But there are several other options that you can use.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's a really good practical tips depending on your context. So interesting question here from Najashi, who says, how can we overcome global challenges in relation with our region or the area we're working in or living in? So can you think of an example of how you can connect a big global issue with something that is more local?
Well, let's say, for example, the question of gender equality. Gender equality is not the same in all around the world, right? Okay, according to the different cultures, the role of women may be different. Okay, so it's always good to get to know how women live and how women feel in other parts of the world, right? That may be a great project, starting, for example, through a poem in connection with women, or maybe a reader in connection with women, right? The question of water also, right? For example, you make your students read a story on the availability of water, right? There are several novels, right? One is, for example, A Long Walk to Water by Lindsay Sue Parker. It's an American writer. So you can, for example, read the story here. The other students read the story, right, in their own place, right? And then you think there you're having a look at through that novel, you will get the global picture, right, of what is happening around the world, right, and the availability of water around the world. But then, for example, you can make it local, right? Remember that there is a great phrase that someone mentioned in the chat box: think globally, but then act locally, right? Unfortunately, we cannot go to other parts of the world to help, but yes, we can help by giving small steps from where we are, right? Every small step counts, okay? Every small step makes a difference, right? So we have to emphasize that, right? Maybe your students feel that what they are doing is too small because they are working on the question of water locally, but it doesn't matter, right? Just turning off the tap when you are not using them will help the world, right? When you're not using the tap, right, will help the world as well. Yeah, so make your students aware of the fact that every small step counts, right? And working locally, we are going to help the world globally. Then when you have your local action, right, you connect with the other classroom through the Padlet and you show, because I mean, what you want to know is about the situation, the global issue in other parts of the world, right? And the other part of the world wants to know about what the global issue, right, or how the global issue is treated in your own context, right? So this question of exchanging ideas is very important.
Because often people don't really realize that you don't think about the situation where you are until you hear how it's different somewhere else, and that throws light on what's actually happening in your context. You go, okay, this is how women are treated. These are the challenges. So yeah, I really like that idea.
And Joanna, the world is so different. we live so many different realities, right? It's so good to get to know about the others, right? And what the others are doing in connection with these issues, or how the others are working towards these issues, right? Because they are facing challenges that maybe we are not, right? And the other way about, right? Maybe we are facing challenges that they are not, right? And by working locally, right, and thinking and creating this sense of hope that I am helping the world, right? Yes, your students will feel so much better,
Yeah.
so much better,
Yeah.
really.
Yes, it's empowering for them. Yeah.
Yes, of course you will be empowering them.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm afraid we're out of time for today, but it's been a real pleasure to have you and to chat to you. Thank you so much.
Same, Joanna here. For me, it's been a real pleasure to be part of this event. Really, thank you very much to British Council, to you, to Melissa, right, to Teaching British Council. It's been a real pleasure for me to be here today.
Thank you. Thanks to moderators, to Louise and Melissa and Anne for all your hard work in these last sessions.
They have been so helpful.
Tomorrow.
And so, yeah, they have been really supportive all the way through. So thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. And thank you to everybody that's come today. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the good comments.
All right. So go and rest. Have a wonderful rest of day, and we'll see everybody again tomorrow for more sessions. Thank you and see you soon.
Bye-bye.